Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, bringing you a grand solar minimum update on Monday, April 23rd, 11:05 p.m. Mountain Time 2018. You're looking at the GFS snowfall totals headed out to May 4th. We do have a pretty consistent snow pattern for mid-spring through the high mountain elevations, especially here, southern Alberta. Heads up, Brent. Several feet of snow possible up there, maybe up to 16 inches. We have heavy snow predicted throughout the Rocky Mountains in Colorado. We are currently at 62% snowpack, and we could use a little bit more water so that the spring runoff is awesome and we have a great rafting season. Look at the spike down here in the South San Juans. That's going to be good for us for the next 2 weeks. Utah has a good snow pattern, as well as some moderate moisture here in the desert. Sierras have snow forecast all the way up through the Cascades, Washington and Oregon. More snow in the high mountain terrain. British Columbia, more snow. Ontario, more snow. A little bit of snow up in the Dax, but nothing significant. Looks like northern Michigan's getting a little snow the next 2 weeks, and the planting zones are going to be able to probably dry out a little bit here. Hopefully we'll get some crops planted moving forward. That's good news. Let's get on with the update. Rain, snow, and wind tonight into Tuesday. Heads up. National Weather Service, Rapid City, South Dakota, 3 to 4 inches. Speartooth. This is coming out just now from Weather Ready Nation. Come over to the map. Nothing significant here. Just a small snow event here. Western South Dakota, southeastern Montana. Little flood watches out here in western North Carolina. Heads up. And we have some poor air quality in southeastern Arizona. I don't know why you live there. Billings, Montana sees the snowiest winter weather on record. Boom! What happened? No, I didn't. Yes, I did. Let's go back. You're going to love it. She's diving in. Heads up, Billings. It's a party. Yes, sir. Weather ready. Top snow, top stories. It's official. Billings, Montana, the winter of 2017-18 will go down in the record books as the snowiest ever on record. Whew. They'd be scuba diving in the snow. After an additional 2.6 inches of snow on Monday, today, Montana's largest city officially clinched its snowiest winter on record with 106.1 inches of snow so far this winter through Monday afternoon. The previous snowiest winter on record was just back in 2013-14, grand solar minimum much, when 103.5 inches of snow fell. Are you listening, Al Gore? Erie, PA, 1 inch of an historic all-time record. Let's check the numbers. Here are the current top 25 cities in the United States for the 2017-2018 snow season, updated today. Number 1, Erie, PA, 198.5 inches, doubling the normal snow to date, and just 1 inch away from the all-time snowfall total for a single season of any major city ever recorded. Let's go to Syracuse, number 2, 153.6 inches, 20 inches more than normal. Number 3, Rochester, 120.2, 22 inches more than normal. Buffalo, 112, 15 inches above normal. Billings, Montana, 103, doubling, more than double above normal in Billings. And boom, they just broke the record. Worcester, 30 inches above normal. South Bend, 30 inches above normal. Ann Arbor, 30 inches above normal. Flint, Michigan, double. Are you catching on to what's going on? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Yes, the total mass of snow in the Northern Hemisphere is epic. 650 gigatons above average. Are you picking up what I'm putting down, Al Gore? Because apparently you're not shoveling it. 650 gigatons extra would cover your entire state. And that's a boom of the snowiest proportion. Heads up, that's an Olympic boom. Whew. Heads up, Al. Oh, whew, I didn't want to see that. Meanwhile, in northern Wisconsin, this is happening. Yep. Whoa. It is getting hot up there, Alf. Remember when you told us it would never snow again? This is a car dealership. Look at all this never snow again that happened in the spring here in Wisconsin. It's never going to snow in Wisconsin. Oh my God. Please send this to your friends and family who believe in global warming. April weather is poised to break the 60-year-old record. Heads up, Ohio. Your daffodils are dying. April's almost over, and if you thought it has been a cold start to spring, you would be correct. In fact, according to the data compiled by the National Weather Service in Wilmington, April in the Miami Valley in Ohio has so far been the coldest ever, dating back 125 years since they began keeping records. Even with the warmer temperatures that arrived over the weekend and forecast for the next week, it is doubtful there will be enough time left in the month to pull them out of the coldest spot ever. Whew. That is an Ohio Springfield News Sun chilly boom boom. Heads up, and we're swimming in it. Brrr. I wish Al Gore was here. Things are peachy for the Georgia onions. Man, they figured out how to grow these Vidalias. Here's a funny thing. If you come down and read the article, it's going to get interesting. No one was immune to the cold weather in January, so how the markets reacts for us in the second half of our crop will be very important as to how we actually balance out at the end of our season, he said. We will have to learn how to grow new varieties after they have experienced extreme cold temperatures. We are changing from past practices to try and manage growth through a different process than in years past because it's getting colder. It's not getting warmer, no matter what anyone says. Here is the eddy minimum forecast for sunspots, and it is quickly going to drop into a hole in the next decade back into mini ice age times. The truth is always in agriculture. No one was immune to the cold. We had to learn how to grow new varieties after they have experienced extreme cold temperatures. We are changing from past practices to try to manage growth through a different process than in years past because we are adapting to the cold and we stopped listening to the mainstream and things are peachy. Heads up. We'll check that out in a second, but we gotta go to the video. Oh! Let's check out the Weather Ready Nation here. Drought map. Exceptional drought in parts of 7 states in the Southwest. The major fire, the Frey fire in Okie, had been quenched by the major storms. We'll get an update tomorrow. I didn't really have time to look into it today, but the changing of the seasons from winter to spring has brought an unwelcome worsening of the drought across the U.S. South, West, and Southern Plains. As predicted by us and many others, if you look into the historical record, past grand solar minimums, there are major drought cycles that ebb and flow between flood and drought. Flood and drought. While up in the north it's cold, crops are failing. In the south, there's flood and drought. Flood and drought. We're going to get to a little bit more detail as if you bear with us through the update. At the start of the year, only a few small areas of extreme drought existed in the contiguous U.S., the larger of them in Oklahoma, South Dakota. As the season advanced, the extreme drought conditions expanded from Oklahoma into Texas and Kansas, with the detached pockets also appearing in Zona and New Mexico by mid-February. Now, take a look at this progression here. Pretty badass. We go, boom, January, February, March, April. January, February, March, April. You can see it worsening. January, February, March, April. Worsening January, February, March, April. I wish I could pause it. January, February, March, April. And that's a boom. They could really use the snow there. We're going to get a little bit of snow, and hopefully the monsoon, when it kicks in, is going to help us out here, because I was just up at the upper parcel here where Frank Oppenheimer used to live, and it is bone dry. There is no spring melt off. All the pond systems are at minimum levels, and we expect that water to last until the monsoon kicks in July, and it is looking dry. January, February, March, April. Boom. January, February, March, April. Boom. California's water whiplash is only going to get worse. We just talked about this. Look at the drawdown. In December 1861, as California drought was wearing into its 5th year, farmers on the West Coast were all asking for one thing for Christmas, and that was rain. And boy, did they get it. For 43 days, it rained, and snow fell across the state, causing rivers to surge their banks, turning the 300-mile-long, 20-mile-wide Central Valley into an ice-cold inland sea. LA got 66 inches. So deep were Sacramento's floodwaters that the capital had to be relocated to San Francisco. With a quarter of the economy underwater for the state was forced into bankruptcy. Thousands died. It was the most violent flooding California had ever seen. And no storms have come close to topping it since. Until now, as we descend into the grand solar minimum, population densities are at all-time highs, soils are at all-time lows due to degradation and fires, and it is not going to look good. Here's the relative change in year-to-year precipitation whiplash consecutive to wet-to-dry transition. You figure it out. It's a lot to learn. But what it basically states is that according to a new study out in today's Nature Climate Change, which predicts up to a 100% increase in extreme precipitation swings across California over the next 7 decades, they are 100% correct. A lot of people have done the version of the analysis where they look at the mean precipitation change and find it as close to zero or uncertain, says Daniel Swain, a climate scientist and the study's lead author. And that makes it seem like things will stay about the same going forward. Unfortunately, that is not the truth. The past is the key to the future, and we're going to talk about historical documentation at the end of the video. Scotland set for snow again as -5C lows expected to cool record April heat. Tonight becoming drier, a few showers, breezy and cool. Look at how fantastic he looks. Let's blow him up. Boom! Look at that. I hope you guys all dropped acid tonight because this is badass. Whew. I think I might have done a little too much. Oh my God, breathe, Diamond, breathe. Look at the thin tie. Whoa, man, this guy's hair is amazing. Look at the faux hawk. Look at the wind. Monday, 500, 600, blowing. Whoa, I think it's kicking in, man. Here come the storms. North Glasgow, Aberdeen, Monday, 1500. It's pretty warm. It's looking warm here. I don't know what they're talking about. Let's push this forward a little. Oh, it's getting a little chilly. Aberdeen, -3. Whoa, look at the rainbows, man. Oh my God. Don't pull away the snow gear just yet. Sub-zero temperatures are set to return to Scotland again by this weekend. Scots could have been forgiven for thinking the summer weather had finally emerged after a truly awful icy spell. However, forecasters have warned that parts of the country may experience more snow flurries. The mercury is predicted to plunge as low as -5C, with widespread frost expected in the north of the UK. Look at the galoshes. That's boom. Of the snowiest snow diving proportion. The mescaline's wearing off. Hail Suppression Agency. Tomorrow, active hail suppression season begins. What? This is from Bulgaria. All anti-hail rocket launching sites will be ready for the active hail season, said the executive director of the Hail Suppression Executive Agency, Vanyos Laviv, in an interview with Focus News Agency, as he's about to launch rockets of silver iodide into clouds, which has been adopted, enabling the direct and continuous dispersion of reagent in seeding cloud areas. I will leave you links to this disgusting geoengineering nonsense. And it is not the contrails emanating from commercial flights that you're all misidentifying. Let's check the seismic update. Burma 5.2. Boom. Heads up, Dave. Adapt 2030. He probably felt this rumbler right in his backyard. Guys, take a look. Let's just draw a line here at the equator. Massive uptick in the southern hemisphere. And let's real quick come in the U.S. No quakes 2.5 or greater in the last 24 hours. Whew. Take a breather. Upper 48. Nice and quiet. That's the calm before the storm, folks. Volcano news. Worldwide volcano news update. Klucheska volcano. We're talking Kamchatka. Back awake. This is in a remote area. Reported volcanic ash. 2 eruptions in the last 24 hours. Plus Popo. Dukono and Fuego. Klucheska and Kamchatka. We're going to be watching this. There'll probably be updates tomorrow and maybe some video footage. Let's talk about the first genetically engineered coral created to help save reefs from climate change. Oh, I wish they consulted me or any of the thousands of paleontologists like myself that would be like, are you kidding me? Real quick. This is the geologic time scale with concentrations of CO2 and temperature. Let's come in here. Here's the last 4.6 billion years. Here is our temperature in blue, where we are in the modern epoch, right here. You can just see back in the tertiary on Earth, the temperature was at least 10 degrees C warmer. Here is when coral is found in the geologic record at the beginning of the Paleozoic. There is some strombolites in the Precambrian. There are stromatolites that extend back 3.4 billion years. So these corals that emerged around 500 million years ago have been around for 500 million years. And the temperature has been 10 degrees C hotter for hundreds of millions of years. And unfortunately, the world has been taken over by multinational corporations like Monsanto, Bayer, Syngenta, et al. And they are totally sticking a rod in your... It wouldn't matter if the temperature on the planet went up 10 degrees C tomorrow. The coral would be fine. But they're selling this genetically modified coral crap. And that is going to destroy the planet that we live on. Not CO2, plant food. This garbage. Genetically engineered coral is alien to our planet. It should never be introduced to the natural biome. Coral is the most resilient life form on Earth. It has existed through every single mass extinction in history. And they are sucking the life out of me by claiming that coral is dying. It always dies, you idiots. It's coral. 90% of the reef is dead. It's always regenerating. That's not what they don't tell you. I'm sick of it. Let's talk about bizarre Arctic sea ice circles. I wonder what these oval features are here in the Beaufort Sea. I wonder if it's the Russians. You idiots. Look at that. There is an actual picture of the actual piece of ice missing from this map, sitting on top of that sub. And again, and back again, and they don't know what those are? It's embarrassing. Bizarre. Spotted during a NASA mission. We don't know what's happening. We have no idea what could be a circular feature of that size that breaks through the ice. It's baffling to us. Rotten egg gas around your anus. And this is news? They could have called me on that one. Social vulnerability to climate in the Little Ice Age, an example from Central Europe in the early 1770s. Guys, the number one threat as we descend into the grand solar minimum and the empire collapse, as it has time immemorial, is not the weather. It's not the advancing glaciers. It's not the snow. None of that matters. In fact, 90% of every single human on Earth, the climate in your area will stay relatively the same, even in a major glacial period. Only people north of 35 degrees, 45 degrees north especially, will experience major systems. The rest of you will seem the same. But what will happen is global unrest and famine. The deliveries will stop coming soon. 2 years. And then it will cascade from there. Just like it did every other time. And here's the paper. Social vulnerability to climate in the Little Ice Age. An example from Central Europe in the early 1770s. So I'll leave you links to it. It's complete, and it doesn't look good. Crop loss, famine, drought, flooding. It's not the cold. It's the extreme climate variability. You go from extremely cold, record cold winters with record snow to record heat in the spring and runoff to record rain and flooding, destroying all plantings. It's documented thoroughly. This is the most recent time. It happens every 1,000 years. The Vikings completely died off by 1440. Not a single one left. Because of the sun. Not because of man. Let's talk about solutions. I just got the Centex 3000 delivered here. Whew. We should all have these in our houses. Do you see this little box here? This creates plant food. So does my arse. But let's talk about this box. This is compostable food for your garden that comes from your pooper that goes into this cutting edge septic system, and we'll talk about it. That's completely affordable. To put a septic system in on a normal lot costs between $15,000 and $25,000. To buy this Centex 3000, $2,245. It's a continuous flow designed for very heavy use, with a continuous system rotating in the drum, moving compost along the larger and longer 3000 series drum before it drops automatically into the collection housing at the end of the unit. And under normal operating conditions, the drum will not have to be turned backwards for emptying. For up to 9 to 11 people for weekend use, 6 to 8 full-timers. This could be for an entire community. Let's talk about this system. It's completely the top of the line, cutting edge composting septic you can buy. There's a biodrum which mixes and aerates. It's a 300-watt motor that spins. So on a small solar system, you can run this. There's an evaporation chamber, and as the product ages, it slowly turns and dumps into the collection chamber where the finished material can be put directly into your fruit orchard. Whew. We're about to be installing it live. We're going to be showing you the complete process over the next 3 weeks as we create the most advanced off-grid biodigesting septic system and gray water shower that you've ever seen. That's a boom. And a heads up. Guys, I hope you got some. Oh! Oh! I hope you got. Oh, let's get rid of that. Hope you got something out of the video. Times are changing. Soon we'll all be diving into the snow. It's a glorious thing. Snow is beautiful. It's crisp and clean. It's part of the water cycle. And it sometimes falls in vast quantities on humans' heads. Please share this with like-minded people. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Leave a question in the comments below that I can answer. I want to thank all of our new Patreons and our new subscribers and our new one-time donors. We've had so much support that it's beyond me to even begin to start to thank each and every one of you. And I did have a list, and I misplaced it. So stay tuned tomorrow, and I'll give you a list of that. Thanks for listening to the Lee Wheelbarger interview, which we've posted. And I just put up a Freedomizer radio interview where Leah talks a bunch to Scarlet Anonymous and her partner. Thanks for watching. We are in solar minimum of 24. The next 2 years are going to be epic. The time is now to start preparing to survive and thrive in the future, because what we have to look forward to is a cliff that we drop off, and it doesn't look good, folks. Be safe.